Hey, before we start the show, just wanted to let you know that No Inner Monologue is available on all your favorite podcast providers and now on YouTube. Don't forget to check us out on social media at No Inner Pod on Instagram and Twitter and No Inner Monologue on Facebook. Now, enjoy the show. Previously on No Inner Monologue. Stop the Manuel. Stop the Manuel. Stop the Manuel. Sorry. Get on the floor. Wind up now.
From the 7-ish Studios in Mississauga, Ontario, it's the No Inner Monologue podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 62 of No Inner Monologue. I am Duane Norono. With me is the newly 35 Tasha Morrison.
Hola.
The clean-shaven Joey Mangione.
Hello.
And the supposedly on-time Manuel Lujan Garcia.
Creepy Uncle Manny.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hey. So what time is it over there, Manny?
Guys. So right now over here, I'm 12 hours ahead from you guys.
So what time is it?
So what time is it, buddy?
It is 12, sorry, I didn't hear that. It is 12:45 a.m.
Okay. That's
Okay.
pretty...
Yeah.
Wait, it's
Really?
12:45.
Yeah, it's a beautiful clear
So your
Sunday
math is
night.
wrong then, because it's 2:45 for us over here in the afternoon.
Yeah. Sorry, it's Monday. It's Monday 2:45 a.m. for me. And it is 37 degrees where I am.
Time is moving at an amazing pace.
Amazing.
Amazing.
It's 2 hours
So, guys-
ahead of what I said it was.
Guys, it is the 4th episode on our study of each other's cultures. Excuse me, I've got a candy in my mouth. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect thing to have when you're doing a podcast.
I've got a throat candy. Sorry. Just
Yes,
fighting
it
a
is
bit of
week
a
4
bug.
in our culture month.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the last of the conversations we're having about culture, hopefully ever.
Yeah. But
we've
we've learned a lot.
learned a lot. We've gone to Italy, India by way of Dubai,
Mm-hmm.
and then Jamaica, and now we're landing because Manny couldn't pick on one. We're landing on the entire Latino continent,
Latin
right.
America.
Latin America, and all its
From the
friendliness.
tip of Mexico from the beginning of Mexico to the tip of Argentina. It's going to be a grand show. Wait. Is my geography right?
Nobody-
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
I just don't like you saying the word tip.
Manuel's never given one in his life.
Oh.
Ouch.
Yeah.
In both contexts, Dwayne?
Oh, gross. Okay. Moving
That's
on.
my line. You stole it.
I know, yeah. Okay, so Manny, I want to know, well, we want to know what your family background is because you constantly say that you are from everywhere. Costa Rica, Peru, all these places.
Cheektowaga.
Cheektowaga.
So you're asking me, who is my daddy and what does he do? No, I'm
Yes.
kidding.
Not exactly, but close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I've mentioned a couple times on this podcast, I am a conglomerate of the world of random stuff.
Someone
what?
got a word of the day
As you guys know.
calendar.
Conglomerate.
Quick. What's that word? Conglomerate. Okay.
Are you sitting there with a
Conglomerate.
dictionary in front of you, man?
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis
So-
concordantly.
Incredible. Indubitably, my friend. Hey, no, I've learned other words too, like wagwan and amasama do my ting. So
So do your ting.
sama do my ting. God, I don't know why, but even
Rotted.
I got offended at that joke. But anyways, right?
I like to think
I
Tash
was-
found it funny, but I'll find out after the show
I
when
know,
she punches
yeah.
me in the face.
Yeah. You'll know it's funny.
so I was born in Costa Rica, in San Jose, Costa Rica. And at the time, my parents and my Peruvian parents. So my parents immigrated from Lima, Peru, to San Jose, Costa Rica, where the miracle of birth, and there I am.
Gross.
Some could say it was a dark day. Some could say it was a good day. You
Okay.
decide.
Okay, so though you were born in Costa Rica, would you say you were raised in more of a Peruvian culture sort of household than anything else?
Yeah, that sounds fair. I was definitely raised with more Peruvian values, Peruvian food, Peruvian, and basically everything Peruvian, right? But I also grew up in the States, so I also had a lot of American values as well.
Okay, so how did your parents get to the States?
So things took a turn for the worse in Costa Rica, and we had to move to the States.
What
my
happened?
uncle actually owned
Okay.
my uncle owned a construction business in the States, so he was trying to help my father come over. Back in the day, the only way that you can get to the United States was you couldn't fly directly from a Latin American country in, because two things: the airport would either not let you through, or as soon as you landed, they would just send you back home.
Would you have to pay for your own flight back? Or they would just put you on a plane?
But that's if you didn't have a visa.
I think they just put you on a plane. Yeah, I think they just put you on a plane. So the only workaround was you have to fly into Mexico. Now, in Mexico, right, the Mexico-U.S. border, it's such a massive hub for different Latin American people, like people from like Nicaragua, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Panama, all those countries. People from all those countries, they make their way up to the U.S.-Mexico border in hopes of entering the United States. We're seeing that's always been the case. It's even happening right now with Trump's caravan of what does he call? He called it caravan of rapists and whatever. And
well, let's not get into the current president's view of the Latin people.
Also, hold on. Also,
what was it that he just?
Also, it's not Trump's caravan.
Yeah,
he's not bringing them in. He's trying to keep them away. But anyways,
they're all bad hombres considering him. But yeah, so that's always been the case. That's always the U.S.-Mexico border has always catered to all the people coming in. So now we went in, right? My father and mother, my brother and I, and yeah, we all went there in hopes of getting into the country. Now we knew that we would have back then they would do live screening of potential refugee. If you met the refugee requirements, you would be led into the country. And while you processed your refugee status, you would be able to live in the United States.
Okay, so did your family meet those requirements?
We did, yes. Right, we did.
Oh, because of whatever civil unrest was going on in Peru, I'm sorry, not Peru, but Costa Rica, right?
No, it was mainly like in the countries around it, like Nicaragua. El Salvador.
Okay, so
yeah,
because of the issues going around there, right? You guys sort of qualified in for that. Okay, that's pretty cool. So my question, how long did you guys end up staying in the States?
So we moved, we got accepted right away. And from there, from Texas, we took a bus to New York. And in New York, that's where my uncle lived. And we stayed there all the way up to about the time from when I was about 8 years.
8 years. Okay.
8 years. 8 years we stayed in the United States.
So how was it during that 8 years?
Interesting, because I moved around the New York area a lot. So when we first arrived there, we arrived in Jamaica, Queens. Okay, mm-hmm. That's like the Brooklyn suburb of Jamaica, Queens. So growing up there, I mean, there was a lot of a big Black and Hispanic influence, right? Growing up, it was really interesting to be there, right? Like there was also a lot of different cultures as well, not just like Latin cultures. Like there was a lot of Salvadorians, there was a lot of Nicaraguans, there was a lot of Mexicans, right, in that area. So like all their traditions kind of became like a giant Latin tradition, right? Everyone would be there, and it was a lot of fun. It was a very healthy environment growing up, right? We would celebrate things like, for example, we would celebrate Halloween and what's the name of the Mexican Halloween?
You mean the Dia de los Muertos, the day after Halloween?
Thank you. Yeah, Day of the Dead, right? So we would celebrate Day of the Dead as well.
I don't think it's Mexican Halloween, though.
Yeah.
Like, because in Italy they have similar tradition in regards to, like, they do observe the Day of the Dead, but from what I know of Italian culture compared to Mexican cultures. Mexicans make a grandiose, like they have a full parade and stuff. And I think the movie Coco, you guys were saying before we started recording that is somewhat of a decent like representation of like
it is a good
how they observe that day, so to speak.
Yeah. In India we have All Saints Day, All Souls Day. All Souls Day is I think the second. The first is All Souls Day is the first. All Saints Day is the 2nd of November.
It's the 2nd of November. The reason I know this is because my aunt is named Santa because that's when her birthday is.
Yeah,
so she's named like Saint.
Yeah. So those we celebrate it as well. Just it's not without like the mask and all that stuff, right? So
yeah. So it's kind of a thing across the board.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
It's a Catholic holiday.
Yeah, right? It's I guess it's Catholicism. So anywhere. Where Catholicism is.
All Saints Day, not to be confused with Canadian 90s band All Saints.
All Saints were British.
They were British, but that's okay.
Yeah, cool.
Whatever.
So he's so proud of himself, but don't let the facts get away the good story.
So speaking of Canada, so how old are you when you finally moved to the Great White North?
Why is that
I was
white?
12.
No, I'm kidding.
Because of the
12,
snow, jackass.
Well, when you say
what?
it sounds bad. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
You are 12 years old in Canada.
You would actually see some things that like that were much different than you witnessed in the States and Jersey and stuff like that. Like we've never had actually seen like full blown like people, Indians like like people wearing their turbans on the street. One of the differences that I found between the States and Canada is the States is kind of like a melting pot. Like no matter where you're from, that first generation becomes American, right? Like they kind of steer away from their ethnicity.
I think we've mentioned that on the show before, right?
Yeah.
Like we've talked about that, and that's like a one thing just as Canadians we take pride in anyways, right? That we sort of have people come into this country and say, hey, we're more than happy to let you in, bring your culture, teach us what it's like to live in what your culture is like,
and start your business
and do what you got to do type of thing. So it's I think that's a pride point of being Canadian.
I feel like Canada's more of like a live, love, learn type of thing.
I get what
live
you're saying
amongst
with that,
everybody. Learn what you can from everybody else, and just love yourself and each other kind of deal. I think that's the way that Canada works.
Exactly. It is.
Yeah,
and
I see that.
Right away.
Yeah.
And you notice it right away as soon as you can. Like coming from the States to Canada, that's one of the biggest things we've noticed. So growing up here, like I always found that I was always the only Latino kid or Latin person in the scenario. Like I was the only Spanish kid. It was weird. It was actually quite strange because I would be, there would be a lot of Indian kids, right? There would be a lot of kids, Indian. They would talk, in their language, right? Then I would have, some Italian. And
okay,
Portuguese
hold on.
kids,
what years are you saying this happened? Because I'm a few years younger than you, but I don't have this experience at all. To be honest with you, I always found I had like a different, like, no, I was not the only Italian in my group, but there also wasn't like one Indian guy in my group of friends, or like it was always sort of like a mixture of everything, right? There was no specific.
I understand. I think. Sorry.
Like I'm trying to ask. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to just figure out what you're trying to say, Manny.
I think I understand what he's saying.
How many Latinos did you know growing up? Like how many Latin kids were there in your elementary school? You can probably count them on one hand.
I can count maybe 7 that I remember.
Right, and that's the thing. So when I was there in
elementary
school and stuff like that, I only mainly knew a few. Like there weren't really that many Latin kids in my grade or in my class, right?
So I understand what you're saying. You're saying that, because for me, being black, you would be in the class, you'd look around and there was nobody that looked like you, right? So I understand what that feeling is like. and you being, it's almost like you're the odd man out.
Okay, but what do you mean by that?
Well, I think also for you, Tash, you went to a sort of a very
Hoity-toity.
very strongly Polish school.
Yeah, it was a very,
You're lucky if you find a black person in Poland.
Yeah. Apparently there's a soccer player. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think he plays for the national team anymore. I think he's gotten a little old to be on the team.
He's still playing a bit.
But he's still playing there, right? No, I don't know if he's on the team. But anyways.
But I understand that feeling of, you being, you're the only person of your culture in this place and you feel like you're the odd man out. So I get that.
Yeah. So so you had that feeling of, I'm not going to say isolation, because everyone was very welcoming. Everyone was always, willing to talk. People were always genuinely interested in hearing me speak Spanish. I found, especially like the kids, who were Portuguese and Italian, because we kind of it was always fun to compare the words that were the same in our group.
Actually, I can attest to this. This is a thing that I've done with Portuguese, growing up with Portuguese and Spanish kids, where we'd sort of say, "Oh, that word's the same. Oh, but that word's the same." And we got really unnecessarily excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually, because I'm here in the Philippines, and the native language here is Tagalog, but it's broken up but they have different dialects in the region. The region I'm in Bicol, I find that they have a lot of loan words from Spanish. So, but in my previous places I've been to in the Philippines, I couldn't really understand the dialect, but here it feels like I could understand a little bit more. The same experience would be Joe, you speak Italian fluently, right? Or pretty well.
Close enough.
If you were, it's like if you were to hear a group of Portuguese men, or Portuguese people speaking at a cafe, you would be picking up on, hey, I know what that word is.
To be honest, with Portuguese, there's actually a lot less similar words to Italian comparatively to say French. Italian and French are a little bit close. They're all in those romantic languages worlds, right? So I can pick up I can pick up some Spanish. I'm a little bit better at picking up French, but that's also due to the fact that, being in Canada, we took French class for a long time.
Right.
Well, also, the Philippines was a Spanish colony.
Yes,
for
that's
ages.
Yeah,
right?
so that's what I was trying to say. So would you say there's more? I guess there's more Spanish roots in the region that you're currently in right now than say other parts of the country.
Yeah, it is. And funny enough, and I'm one of and the guys here tell me that I'm one of the only Spanish people they've ever really encountered. So that's kind of back to the same thing.
The only Spanish person they've ever encountered?
It's a few of them have told me I'm the only one, which is interesting.
Which is interesting because you're not Spanish.
Which I think I'm a terrible representative of.
Yeah.
That too, because you're not from Spain.
You're not from Spain.
Words right out of our mouths.
Yeah, you're not from Spain, dude.
You're about as Spanish as I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have Portuguese roots too, though, right, Glenn?
Yes. If you heard my episode, you would.
But that whole story. The thing that goes back way back into Dwayne's lineage too, right? So I mean,
because now one of the things that I as you guys know, my Spanish, I've lost some of my Spanish as I've been growing up, right? I think the person that speaks Spanish the best, funny enough, in my family is my sister, and she's the one that's actually been less exposed to a Spanish community. Right?
Okay, but would you say because she studied the language?
I think because she studied.
Okay, no, my sister has a similar I wouldn't say my sister's the best out of my siblings and I to speak Italian, but because my sister took classes, it helped her grasp the language a lot easier compared to my brother, who can speak if necessary. Right? And I think it's also an issue with confidence too, right?
I think it's also, but in your household, you'll speak Spanish. Your mom and dad speak Spanish.
Yeah, I don't
speak English, right?
I don't think your dad speaks very much English. The time I met him, it maybe was 5-word sentences at most. We could communicate, but it wasn't a fluent conversation.
So it would make sense that your mom.
My father's English is a lot better, but the problem is it's what you said. It's my father's confidence in English.
Yeah, it's the same with my brother and his confidence in Italian. But anyways, moving on. What about growing up in let's sort of just narrow it down to specifically Peruvian culture, right? Because that's what you grew up with, right? So what would you say was the biggest sort of thing that you, as a Peruvian Canadian, because that is what you are, though you were born in Costa Rica, that your family did as like an annual tradition thing, not specifically like our Christmas episode, but like something you guys did throughout the year, or like a real thing that sort of solidified or sort of signified that you were Peruvian in a way. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
So I'll answer that question quickly. And as we talked about earlier, like Mexicans have the Day of the Dead, but they also have Cinco de Mayo, which is their Independence Day. Peru's and other Latin American countries celebrate their own Independence Day in different ways. Peru, right? Our Independence Day is I forgot again.
Isn't it July 28th?
Okay, it's either
July 28th.
Yeah, it's July 28th.
July 28th.
Yeah.
28th. Okay, I was confusing it with the other one.
28.
Right?
28.
Yes, 28. 28, right?
28.
Now, July 28th, we celebrate it. We go hard, right? Like we have a lot of traditional Peruvian cuisine, right? And which, by the way, I said, I know.
I think you're doing it on purpose
as I was
now.
telling you guys earlier, is coming up as one of the world's best cuisines. With things like, and
like I told you when you said this claim, and we were not on the podcast recording at that time, I don't think it's as high ranked as you would say it is. Though I'm not saying it's not delicious. I've had some of your mom's cooking. It is great, especially that papada huancaína. But
oh my God, you pronounced it correctly.
If only you guys shared some sort of language.
I know, right? Fuck, dude. We literally just had a conversation saying how we both speak Latin languages.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm sure Peruvian food is good, but it is nowhere. There's no chance it's in the top 5.
No.
Okay. So
starting with the fact that there's, Asian cuisine, Italian, and I'm not trying to be biased, but French cuisine. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know of any like international chefs that specialize in Peruvian cuisine specifically.
Chef Wong is a very famous Peruvian chef. Yes, don't let the name throw you off.
I also feel like you made that up.
I know, yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask you this because
Chef Johnny Wong.
I actually wanted to ask you this because
Sorry?
I actually wanted to ask you this because I don't know if you remember in high school we had 2 science teachers at the school whose last name was Wong,
yes,
but they were from Peru. Now,
yes,
would you say there was like, can you sort of shed some light on that? Was there like a huge Asian influence or migration to that part of the world?
Yeah, there is a very big Japanese community in Peru. It's because there's been a lot of business, a lot of Japan's manufacturing is actually done in Peru. In fact, the president in the 90s, right, was his name was Alberto Fujimori. Okay,
can you
right?
Hold on, Manny.
Which is the most.
Can you just go back a second? What is being produced in Japan? What is being produced for Japan in Peru? Like,
so a lot of their electronics are manufactured in Peru but built in Japan. You know, like how Apple outsources their stuff in China, but it's made in California.
Yeah.
Yeah. So similar to that.
Okay.
But that still doesn't. Well, why would so many Japanese people be like immigrating to Peru though? Outside of that, like
because it's because Peru, we have a lot of natural resources. So we have like a lot of nickel, copper, all that stuff, and we manufacture it cheap. So a lot of Japanese, and now as you guys know, the Japanese are very, very strict on having the best materials.
Would you say that? Would you say though? I wouldn't say manufacturing, but mining for Japanese companies is done in Peru instead of the actual manufacturing. So it's not the refining; it's the actually the actual mining type of thing. So finding the actual metals to use the materials.
Exactly.
Sorry, Manny. I just looked and it says Peru's natural resources are copper, silver, gold, petroleum, timber, fish, iron, ore, coal, phosphate.
So there are a lot of metals there. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm not, and
It
again,
was the
I'm not
city of
expecting you.
gold.
There you go. I'm not expecting you to know this, but maybe you might be able to shed some light though. Do you know possibly why a lot of Japanese or just Asians in general moved to Peru? If you don't know, I understand. I mean, you're not
A lot of from what my father told me, it was to do with work, and the fact that they have an open visa policy, and something to do with the taxes. That there's like, it's kind of like a tax haven, kind of like how Ireland is a bit of a tax haven for the States.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah, but so what was I saying? So yeah, so there's that big Japanese influence is in Peru. But going back to now, what's funny though is that we have like Japanese when we celebrate the our Independence Day, right? Yes, I'm picturing Will Smith too, and Bill Paxton. Right?
Okay.
We also right.
You do you, bro.
Yeah, we actually do incorporate, some of that Japanese flavor, that Japanese thing, and now into the Peruvian cuisine. For example, like we have Peruvian wonton soup, which is some of the best wonton soup I've ever had. Right. We also incorporated a sort of sushi, right, which is known as ceviche. Right. As you guys know, ceviche is raw fish cooked in lime.
I'm not sure of like the origins of ceviche or not. I don't know if it's specifically from Peru, but that's pretty cool, mind you.
Yeah.
Ceviche is actually very nice. It's
delicious. It's very good.
Yeah.
I like ceviche with the lime on it.
What is ceviche?
Yeah.
Manny,
It's raw fish cooked in lime with hot peppers, red onions.
It's like fermented in
absolutely
lime.
delicious.
So the acidity in the lime actually ferments the fish, making it, edible.
Okay.
As opposed to making you sick.
Okay.
and it's probably the most famous of Peruvian dishes, right?
Yeah.
So it is specifically
really
Peruvian.
popular Peruvian dish we have is known as jalea, right? Which is basically deep fried seafood. So deep fried calamari. Hello?
Yeah, deep
Yeah,
fried.
We hear you, dude. Just keep going.
Deep
Perfect.
fried
Yeah, sorry,
shrimp?
it cut out there. Yeah, deep fried shrimp, deep fried it's what else is the other stuff? Deep fried calamari, deep fried fish, deep fried shrimp. And then we top it off with with this type of potato that supposedly only grows in Peru. It's known as yuca.
Yuca.
I know about the
Yuca.
it's almost like a root though, yuca root, right?
Yeah.
If you put strings on it, then you can just make it a ukulele.
Hey. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool to hear that there's like Asian. Now, are there any other like Asian influences in Peruvian cuisine? Right? Because I know for a fact from just hanging out with Marissa's family or whatever that
Your special lady friend.
my special lady friend, thank you. In Dutch culture, in a lot of their cuisine, there's a lot of an Indonesian influence because Indonesia was a
Dutch colony.
Dutch colony for so long that sort of there's a lot of like their dishes sort of started to mix in and stuff, right? So, like, would you say ceviche is like the only thing that you can think of off the top of your head right now?
Yeah, that's really that's all I can think of right
Well, that's
now.
pretty cool, man.
Yeah, but there's also other Peruvian cuisine as well is you have, oh my God, my dad's gonna kill me because I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
Right,
Papa la
basically
Huancaína.
it's
I'm pretty sure your dad's gonna
flank
kill you for
steak,
other things.
Yeah, yeah. It's like flank steak with rice, French fries, onions. Right, it's absolutely delicious, right? And it's made, and actually, in some different places, depending where you go in South America, they actually put in curry in it.
Oh, really?
They put curry in some of it. When my wife and we actually went to a Peruvian restaurant, we were eating. She ordered it all the time. She ordered it all the time, and as we were eating it, she goes, I taste curry. Now her mom is Trini, right? So her mom cooks with the curry all the time. right? So she's like, yeah, this is curry, and we taste it. So I asked the chef, and the chef's like, yeah. He goes, we make it with curry. You know, some people from northern Lima don't do it that way, but we do it that way.
Okay.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like that.
How's it going, everyone? Jesus here, aka Tyrant Dominus, the host of the Convoluted Podcast, where I get a chance to talk with people from around the world and from my own backyard about the things they love, careers they have, hobbies they enjoy, projects they're working on, and along the way, they tell us some wacky stories, and we get to play some games. Join us on the Convoluted Podcast, everywhere podcasts can be found.
Okay, Manny, what I want to ask you...
Actually, before you go on, what I want to ask you is, I've known you for fucking 20 years. Never had any of these things. Don't laugh, you son of a bitch.
Dwayne, and if you've listened to the episode, Dwayne has called us all out on giving him food.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
And
What the hell is the point of living in Canada if you can't have other people's food?
He wants to be in all our cultures.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
wait, yeah, no, he gave me food. I owe you food.
Yeah.
You gave me food
We all
last
owe
time
him food.
when I went to Goa Fest with you last
There you
year.
go.
So
You got food.
I owe you food. And pizza
Okay.
doesn't count. Pizza doesn't count.
Pizza doesn't count.
He wants proper food.
Dang. Okay.
So one of the things that we did to preserve, like again, to kind of preserve our Latin culture and do family bonding, is we used to watch telenovelas as family all the time. We would come home every day at 4:30 was family time. TLN, we would just watch
What is
whatever
TLN?
telenovela was on. TLN it's the Spanish now
Tele
Italian / Channel Network.
Latino.
Yeah,
Latino.
Tele Latino.
It shows mostly, actually, their programming is mostly Italian and Spanish.
Yeah. So, okay. So, hold on. So,
Really?
So,
Are you surprised by that?
They
Like,
show
you've
at
lived in this country for, what would you say, 25 years, maybe
this
more?
point, it sounds like it.
Yeah. And you're surprised.
They showed the Italian soccer league.
They don't show the Spanish league, dude.
I just thought it was filler.
I thought it was
Wow.
a filler. Wow.
Okay, hold on. So,
Can I address this? With,
No, leave him alone.
I'm going to be slightly offensive.
no,
and I apologize in
don't be
advance.
offensive. Don't be offensive.
But,
But
I feel like the majority of their programming was Italian first, because there were more Italian immigrants here in the city of Toronto than there were of, Spanish descent.
I agree with that.
I can't agree with any
Now
of
that
that.
I understand, now that I think about it, we did
Oh, now
tune
that you
after
think
6
about it.
o'clock. After 6 o'clock, we stopped watching TLN.
Yeah, because it was Italian.
So I don't know what programming there was.
Because
on
it was
after.
basically Spanish telenovelas dubbed in Italian.
This is the goddamn
But no,
Bond
these,
episode all over again.
Mexican soap.
I don't
But
even
what's funny
care.
though is that
Here's what I want to know about telenovelas. Everyone I've seen seems to be
yes, there's always a guy named Snake.
no. What? Everyone I've seen seems to be, hey, this show is PG, but we're gonna take it to the absolute limit of PG, right? If there's some stacked girl in there, she is like one step. Okay, put your pants on.
I know, yeah.
She's like one step away from getting naked, right? If there's a love scene, it's uber like sexy. They'll go as low or as low as high as they possibly can without getting into trouble.
You're describing some awkward family moments.
So
Go
this
on.
is what I'm trying to ask you. So your mom and dad were like, you know what? We need to get the culture together.
Yeah.
Let's all get together at 4:00 and watch this semi softcore porn together.
Hey, well, I mean, it wasn't that bad.
This racy programming.
Although I will say, this is what developed my crush on Yuri. Do you remember Yuri?
No,
Or Talia?
I know Talia. Everyone knows Talia was. You could. I didn't
Yeah.
have to watch Spanish soap operas to get a crush on Talia. Talia was gorgeous.
Oh yeah, no, but there were scenes like what you were describing. Those scenes Talia would do, and oh my god. Anyways,
Okay, you know what? We're gonna move past this and your fucking
Let's move past-
loins.
Can you please put your pants back on?
Your teenage loins with your mom and dad sitting next to you.
Gross.
You're the one talking about it.
But you know what though? But like telenovelas though, they are a big influence, and not just like like a lot of them originate from Mexico. Like the Mexican telenovela market can be compared to, but obviously not as big as the Bollywood market. Where like, well, Dwayne, you threw out that stat that how many Bollywood movies were made in 1 year?
Like 1,000, wasn't it?
I can't even remember the number.
Something like that, yeah, right?
Close to like 1,000, maybe even
1,987.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But in Mexico, they produce these Mexicans. They produce these soap operas, right? And they just hammer them out. I don't even know, how the number is, but there always is a new one, and not all of them. And what they do is that the ones that they make, they don't always make it to the main market in Mexico. So you'll have like a telenovela that will air exclusively only in Venezuela, right? But it was made in Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's funny you say that because, like I said when I was being mean to you, about the Latino, what they would do, like I said, they would just dub over some Mexican telenovelas in Italian, and it'd be the exact same show. Because I noticed it one time. My grandmother once watched it in Spanish, and then she watched the exact same episode. In Italian.
Dude, we used to. I've seen many an Italian movie that was dubbed in English. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
When I used to work for a TV station that was a multicultural TV station here in Canada,
and they had very similar programming.
They had the same programming. But one of the things they had was a Portuguese. They would just on the schedule would always say Portuguese novella, but it was basically they would do a whole run. When the run was over, the next Portuguese novella would start, and one of the ones was a Portuguese novella that was set in India. So all the characters, I don't know if it was like makeup or they had Indian people, but everyone looked Indian.
Okay.
But speaking Portuguese. So it was set like it was made in Brazil. It was from Global.
Was it set in Goa?
It might have been. I don't understand Portuguese to know, but like
that's exciting,
right? But I know his point. Like, there's probably a production house that makes soap operas for different regions, very similarly to how like Fox Searchlight makes movies for different countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to telenovelas, obviously, like I obviously wasn't exposed to that. I've never watched that network.
Exposed was 100% the right word to use there.
It is. Do you have any idea how awkward it is seeing Eric Estrada shirtless every other day?
Wait, hold on. Why was it awkward for you?
Just take. Why didn't you just take down the poster from your room? You have control over it.
Oh my god.
I'm done. I quit. I'm out.
Yeah, my young sexuality was divided between Talia and Eric Estrada.
Except Talia wasn't part of that equation at all.
That's not that upsetting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So my whole telenovela thing actually started very recently with the show Jane the Virgin. You guys watch Jane the Virgin?
Jane the Virgin is excellent.
Yes,
it is, and it just kind of teaches you. Well, it's like to me, it's like a learning experience because a lot of the show is in Spanish and with like the subtitles. So, the grandmother is the only person that really speaks Spanish.
Here's the thing: Jane the Virgin is based on a telenovela.
It is.
Yeah.
There was a or Mexican, I think, version of it. So. But it is great, and there's actually going to be a spin-off show. It's its last season this year, and I forget what it's called. It's called Jane's Diaries or something like that. But it's just going to be little telenovela stories.
Yeah, it's
anthology based.
Yeah,
my favorite guy.
That's pretty cool.
Rogelio de Valvega. He's so amazing.
He's the best.
That's the thing. A lot of telenovelas, they have a run. Like, it's a 1-season run. Like, it's so weird comparing like the Latin telenovelas to like the North American ones, where like ones like Days of Our Lives have been going on for how long?
Like 55 years?
Yeah, something like that. Something insane.
Yeah, right? And it's like, but the telenovelas are usually like, it's 1 season. It's a 1-season run of like so many episodes. Like growing, when I was in New York, right? my mom used to watch a telenovela called Cuna de Lobos, which means the den of wolves. And and I'll always remember this, the main villain was actually this old woman
named Snake.
And you knew she was the villain because she wore an eye patch.
Signora Serpente.
Snake.
But, there was a guy named Snake in it, and he got killed at the end.
Snake.
I used to watch it with my mother. He got killed at the end by another kid, his son, named Snake Jr., who pushed him into the pool with a lawnmower.
Snake.
Telenovelas. Let's not forget the complicated storylines that are telenovelas. Okay. And the show ended with a shot of the kid now wearing his grandma's eye patch. Fantastic.
Oh my God, I love it. That's amazing.
That's how we're gonna end your life.
And then there was another telenovela that because telenovelas they promote a lot of up and coming singers, right? That's kind of what they did before. There was a telenovela named Las Juanas that my mom used to watch, and it had a Mexican trio of singers. I forgot their name, but the point of the last episode was they were trying to get the devil out of the village. Now the devil was not what you think it is. It was played by an old dude dressed in white playing the violin.
Eric Estrada.
And the whole village broke out into song. And as the octaves got louder, he got more frustrated. So at the end of it, he just drove away in his white Camaro. Again,
I love it. I love it. That's amazing.
Telenovelas are great. If I ever became an actor, I would love to play the villain in a telenovela.
That's probably all you would get.
Yeah.
You're 100% the villain here. So.
Yeah.
I get an eye patch though.
I was almost about to say let's make a telenovela.
Yeah.
But
You know what? Manuel could be the bad guy on this one, and we'll just put like duct tape over your mouth.
Yeah.
Instead of an eye patch.
And then we'll draw lips on the duct tape. And we'll call you Snake.
No, Signor Serpente.
Oh, Serpente.
Or we could just put duct tape on his mouth and then a snake around his neck.
I know.
Yeah. I got a question for you. I got a question for you guys though.
Oh, this is upsetting.
Who were the artists that you guys were introduced to, like music artists, from like Latin American cultures? Like, for example, Ricky Martin. Like, the first time I heard of Ricky Martin was during that World Cup. When he did the Cup of Life.
I have a question for you. Why is it that you say Gabriel Iglesias, but you can say Ricky Martin fine?
Ricardo Martin.
Ricky Martin.
I can't answer that.
Huh?
I can't answer that.
Yes.
I can't answer that.
It's like if you met some guy on the street, if you get some guy on the street and he said, "My name is Gabriel," you would have said it fine, right?
Gabriel, yes.
No. See, the guy said, "My name is Gabriel."
Yeah.
Yeah. So if like my brother's middle name is Gabriel, so it would just be Gabriel, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're.
Yeah, but if my brother said he was from Peru and said his middle name was Gabriel, what would you say?
Gabriel.
You
have to say it with a raspy sort of sexy voice.
Why? Well, he's not his father. So, but why does Ricky Martin get a pass?
I don't know.
Because it's an Americanized name. It's
guess,
probably like Ricardo Martin.
Because I guess because he was part of Menudo, right?
What does Menudo have to do with this?
What does Menudo have to do with your accent?
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't hear about Menudo until after Ricky Martin got famous.
Yeah, I know.
Manny's always hated Menudo because they wouldn't let him in.
You know what? I don't know, but I'll ask here's the thing, though. I'll ask my father this. I'll actually ask my father to pronounce these things. Because, like Dwayne said, my father has a very Mexican soap opera booming voice. I didn't get any of his
charm, looks,
grace.
Work ethic,
style.
Yeah, okay, I get it. You know what?
Machismo.
You know what? It's funny. You know what, though? My grandfather on my mom's side.
Attractiveness.
Yeah.
Like you once said.
Likability.
We have another 10 minutes on this podcast. We can go. We don't want to go through this.
What is all this static? What's going on here?
But the thing, though, is...
General hygiene.
The thing, though, as well...
Manny, you're breaking up on
ethic.
us. Manny, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
No, that's not Manny. What's going on here?
Is it the sandstorm from Dubai?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, it's that.
Okay,
All
perfect.
All right, we figured it out.
so
Sorry.
yeah.
We just got hit by the sandstorm from Mission Impossible 3 or 4 or 10. I'm not entirely sure which one it was.
Go ahead. Sandstorm. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do.
Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm not paying the copyrights for Darude.
Exactly, man.
So yeah. But no, the thing about it. So yeah. Back to my question though. What was the first Latin American music that you guys were introduced to?
I'm gonna be
who
honest.
was it?
Shakira was the first one I actually like heard about, like proper.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably in my house, it would probably have been Gabriel Iglesias.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gabriel Iglesias.
I mean, for me, pop culture wise, it would have been all the ones from the 90s.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I watched that Paulina Rubio video like a million times.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the name
What
of the
about you,
song.
I was exposed to a lot of like salsa music. So like Celia Cruz was she's like a Cubana.
Cubana.
Yeah.
Cubana. She was very famous, very popular back in the day, and she still is. So
Yeah.
we used to like her music used to be on the radio. So back then they used to have like Spanish radios. I don't know if they have that
back
even
then.
now. Back
Gloria
then, yeah.
Estefan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the biggest one I would
Yeah.
remember.
Selena.
Yeah.
Selena, yeah.
Yeah.
Selena.
I didn't hear about Selena. I mean, being in Dubai, but I didn't hear about Selena till after she died.
I'll be honest,
Yeah.
I didn't hear about Selena
Yeah.
Till
till
the movie.
The movie.
Yeah, the movie and after she died.
Who did La Bamba? Lou Diamond
Richie
Phillips.
Valens. That was Richie Valens,
Valens.
though.
I was gonna say Lou
Yeah.
Diamond Phillips.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
He did La Bamba,
He
though.
did do La Bamba.
Yeah, he played Richie Valens.
Yeah.
Para bailar la bamba,
Manny, who sings that?
para bailar la bamba se necesita una copa de gracia.
Manny, who sings that?
Lou Diamond Phillips. No,
All right, let's keep it that way.
it's Richie Valens.
It wasn't even Lou Diamond Phillips that sang it.
I know.
He lip sunk it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's the thing. Like I was first introduced. Like my parents, they used to listen to people like Julio Iglesias, Juan Gabriel, like you said, Selena. Some of a lot of older like romantic people. Like for our Mexican, if anybody's listening, like that's from Mexico, a very famous old romantic ranchero singer was Pedro Infante. Right, these are like very
Ernesto de la
old school
Cruz.
famous one. It's kind of like Pedro Infante was I would say Juan Gabriel was on par with Frank Sinatra in terms of that popularity, right? In terms of the way that they sung songs, right? Very famous and all that. And
Are there
the thing
any?
about it is like some
Are
of
there
these
any?
salsa
Are there any?
songs,
Are there any big singers from Peru, like homegrown?
I honestly I don't think so. Not
There's
that I can
nobody
think of.
that
I'm probably-
can sing from Peru.
Well, you heard Manny sing just now.
I know.
I think it's a pretty good indication.
Let's not shit on
So,
the
yeah.
entire Peruvian nation just yet.
Fair enough.
So yeah,
True.
again, not the
True,
best
true.
representative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Considering he's not even from there.
Exactly.
So no, so like
Leave it to the unknown.
you kind of grow up with that. And the nice thing about like some of these old school salsa songs is like I would be at a family party, right? And you know the music really didn't appeal to me. It doesn't appeal to me. It didn't appeal to me. But you know, like my mom and dad, they would be dancing the night away. So you know, especially like New Year's.
I've got a
in
bone
fact,
to pick with you.
When I went back to Peru, my uncle would play the same CD for about 2 nights straight. He would stay hammered. Like he had a constant stream of alcohol and just listen to the same CD and dance.
That sounds
Anyone
like
that
my
would
dad.
walk by on the street
It sounds
would-
like
would
everybody's
dance
father.
Exactly. But Manny, I've got a bone to pick with you. I went to a big party
What?
at your parents' house a few years back, and I do not recall any Spanish music. I'm really upset about this, and it just popped in my head now. And we know how
when was
easily
this?
I get upset.
with. Yeah.
I also have a bone to pick with you. I went to that same party, and I was really happy that there was no Spanish music. Because if I hear any more reggaeton, I might kill myself.
No, I want like proper Spanish music, not just reggaeton.
Yeah, like the old. But that's the thing. Like so let's assume like okay. So for my father's 65th birthday, okay, we had a big party downstairs.
Where was
Now,
my invite?
My father's friends and
I
some
don't
of
think
his
Manny was
and some of his.
invited
Now,
either.
keep in mind,
okay.
my father is the youngest of 10 siblings. Okay.
Get it on.
Your grandparents are animals, man.
Oh, and my grandfather has like 4 or 5 illegitimate kids.
Oh,
But anyway,
grandfather
okay.
is a dog.
I see where
So,
you get
anyways.
your. Oh, so that's where you get it from.
So, anyways,
Jay,
we're
please, I
getting
wish I took
we're
after
getting
my
close, buddy.
My
So,
grandparents, but both my grandfathers, they were like super suave. Like I'll show you. I'll post a picture of my grandfather on my mom's side, right? Like the man, like he was always dapper, 100% dapper every time.
All
But
right, you
anyways,
didn't get that
right,
from him.
no, he didn't. So we're getting close. Can you just sort of like give us one last story, or what, like your main experience, like what you can take away from like growing up in the States and here in Canada, and like the biggest,
Growing up Latinx.
growing up Latino.
Growing up Latino,
Yeah, what was the best memory that you can put together?
there isn't one specific memory. It's just being able to
So there's
say
no good memories.
that I'm part of that the culture I'm part of is not only not just Peruvian or Costa Rican culture, talking Latin American culture in general, is we are a very accepting, very loving, very fiery, very tight-knit culture where we love hard, we play hard, and we fight hard, right? We
Terrible.
yeah, and that's all I can really take from it.
We work hard. We play hard.
Dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun. Everybody dance now. And that's how we're gonna end the episode with a Simpsons reference, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
I think.
by the way, did you guys know that Enrique Iglesias is half Filipino?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know
I
that.
found-
That's exciting.
yeah.
So they have met another Spanish person.
Yeah. Because his father, Julio Iglesias,
All right.
was like obviously very, very famous.
And
right?
into Filipino chicks.
Yeah, I did not know. I always
Well,
forget that. And
Learn something new
then,
every
and then,
day.
Like here, they just kept reminding me of that here.
Well, maybe one day you and your Filipino wife's kid will be very famous.
Cool story, bro.
Oh my god. Cool story, bro.
All right. So thanks, Manny, for that. That was actually really cool.
That's fun. I had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys.
So next week we're gonna do a top. Wait, no. So it's a fishbowl episode.
Fishbowl.
Bring back the fishbowl.
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 There we go.
Sorry, fish. Tash, your fish has to go away from his vacation home.
I know.
It's all right. Larry
Poor
will
Larry.
We will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us with the newly shaved Joey Mangione, the newly 35 Tasha Morrison, the soon to be father of Enrique Iglesias, Manuel Lujan. This is the short.
That's true. Happy belated, Manny.
Yes, this is the short-haired Dwayne Dorona cutting out, and what you're going to be listening soon is Manny's favorite song, the theme song from Chips. See you later. Do not choose combo number 5.